Well, you know what? Some players are winners, some players are losers, some players get it done, some players don't. Whether that made any sense, whether, it sounded confusing, panicked, Andrea got it done. D5 was the best move for sure. And then moving back, I'm impressed.
Yep, she took her time. She raged a little bit, but she got it correct. She also thinks she's playing for 100K, so the stakes are even higher than any of us thought. And we'll see how. Oh, okay. So D4. Oh,
That was
well,
not the move that was played. But D4 is definitely a question mark move for a good reason, and Andrea definitely knows it. D4 was a very, very bad move.
yeah. But don't you think Samai would have studied the main variation here? I'm curious why it was misplayed. Maybe he forgot.
It's I will say that this is why I was so impressed by Andrea in that moment, is that D5 is a move you have to play now or never. You don't play it there, the knight comes out, you never get to play it. So most players just kind of autopilot bishop G7 and castle, and then it's a much different position, kind of the moves that I was showcasing earlier. But D5 is a move that often you kind of skip by, and we're seeing exactly why it's such a big deal here. Andrea should continue to open the position, put pressure, c5, queen a5, rook d8, knight c6, those kind of moves.
Right. And Samai, I guess, is just trying to castle as quickly as he can. He's developed on the queen side, but his king side pieces look like they're just starting the game. And I don't know if he's going to have time to do that with a c5 queen a5 idea, which I guess
Mhm.
is not being played right away.
Yeah, this move I actually don't understand too much because bishop g2 will make a nice threat, and I guess the idea is to win the rook, but it's let's just think about bishop b7 because it'll need some fine tuning. I'm suspecting that Andrea is committed to bishop a3. So let's see if Samay plays, e4 or something that reacts to bishop f5, or if he plays knight f3, thinking no big deal, I'm going to castle next, and maybe runs in to bishop a3, winning the rook.
Goes for e4, which in the short term looks. Oh, wow. Okay, you could take on e4, bishop takes, then I'm guessing rook e8 just gets the bishop back because
Yep.
f5 is incoming and it's already under attack. Oh, Andrea doesn't take it right away, but she sees the idea.
Yeah, the I will say the ideas unfortunately are different enough that they don't just transpose, because if it transposed fully, this would be just as good. The problem is you give white that extra move to play f3. That solidifies everything, and Samay might realize the knight is pinned, so how can I defend this pawn? F3 is a great way to do it. However, queen d3 may also come to mind, and then Andrea has the
Wow.
opportunity to play it now, and I think she will find this because it makes much more sense.
So he did just play queen d3. That wasn't you showing us what he might do.
This one is a double question mark, much like the previous one was a double question mark, but this one was not me.
Noted. Okay, so let's see if Andrea sees that she could take on e4 here. Although she's looking towards c5 instead, she's more focused on the d4 pin.
Which is good. I mean, see, by the way, the bishop doesn't have to move, so you have time here to play c5, knight c6, but knight e2, knight c5, I believe is what she's angling at here.
So now Samai can play knight g e2, which does a lot of things. One, it unpins the e pawn. It defends d4. It defends the knight on c3. It develops the
Mhm.
knight, and it helps white castle. A lot of positive moves involved. Sorry, a lot of positive impacts from that one move.
Agreed. The thing is, Andrea didn't just play knight a6 for no reason. Knight c5 is a really crafty way to involve that knight and pretty much just win the e-pawn. So it's hard to imagine a situation where Andrea is not up significant material in the middle and maybe even more. Like, knight c5, and I'll just put this move on the board. I think Andrea will play it. Queen to c4, and if I play the crazy move b5, if you take my bishop, I have knight d3, and otherwise the queen is trapped. So this could be a pretty big problem here. Let's see if, first of all, knight c5 gets played, but I believe that she's probably planning it, but maybe we can drop in and see if that's actually the case.
I think it's fine. I could start like this, but why would I do that? So I'm gonna do this, you do this.
Oh, let's see if she sees it.
I even have so many tricky moves I could do this, but that's okay. Bang, bang, take, check. Bang, bang, check. Take, take. No matter what you do, I'm gonna take.
Okay,
No
so
matter
she sees
where-
the first half, but
I'm
not
gonna take this
b5.
no matter what.
Yeah, the thing is,
If you
Andrea
come here,
has
I just
a
take this
pawn that
After
she'll
queen, I
win
take,
here.
I take, and I'm
So
gonna
she's
take
focused on
bishop.
that and not looking for more, which is fair.
I don't think. Trying to think if there's like any intermediate moves, but there's nothing because you're in check. You're not gonna take my bishop. You're not gonna sack your queen. There's no tricks for your queen. I mean, this is stunning. Take, take. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm feeling good about this. I don't know how I got an opening trap in an opening I never seen, but maybe that was like a good line.
So was the mistake for Samay when he pushed e4? Because it looked like such a natural move, but all of his troubles started happening then.
Why is it so
Yeah, e4 was definitely a mistake. Also, d4 was probably a mistake earlier. The position for white is supposed to be way more solid. This is really loose, and
By
it's
the way,
all
guys,
before white has
Samay beat
castled.
Sardosh, and Sardosh has just beat Masioka. So Samay is very strong. He's 17-20, and he might have retired from chess content, but I was really terrified for his prep. Okay, let's start calculating. I think to save time, we need to do that. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is just really good. So after I take, you take, I take, you'll probably... I mean, this is so bad. I don't know what else you do. I don't know what else you do as white.
It's always a good feeling when
Back,
you don't know
maybe?
what you would recommend for your opponent.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, no, it
Bang.
feels incredible until
I mean,
you're
then
like,
you
oh,
lose
they
this
have
pawn.
a move that I totally
If you go
missed.
back, ooh, wow, this is insane. I do this, I take. You have to take the knight, because if you take with the rook, I win the pawn. So I come here, you take here, you take with the rook. It gets tricky for sure. Queen takes this pawn. Wait, no, that's a free queen.
What?
Okay, no, you
yeah.
take with the rook, I just said I'm taking this pawn. So you're going to take with the knight. If you take with the knight, queen takes. So bang. Wait, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, I cannot take this pawn. Do this. Wait, but you're pinned. Just kidding. I can take this pawn. I think I just take. I mean, you got 2 hanging pawns, so I probably take here. Yeah, why not? Of course. Putting the pressure on the diagonal. Okay, you go back, I just take. Is there anything else to consider? This? I mean, same threat.
What's the
This
word,
bishop is just a monster.
Alexandra?
Now I
Sometimes
understand
they
why
have
my move
you
order
know,
for
like
this line
chaotic
doesn't start
neutral
with
and
G6,
these types
bishop
of words.
G7, but it starts with
Andrea's
knight
one of
Chaotic
those.
good, chaotic
Okay, I
neutral.
take.
Yeah, I
I don't
remember
like this.
the diagram. I don't
She's
remember
definitely
which
one
one
of
she's
them
at.
because it sounds crazy. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, she arrives at the right answer so far in all the critical decisions. Knight takes e4, absolutely crushing. I think what has to happen here is knight takes, bishop takes, and then castles just to survive the position.
Yep, and people are bringing up Samay's nickname BM or Blundermaster, but he hasn't really been blundering. It was just a tricky opening where he was making natural moves. So you guys, maybe he's not quite living to his name yet. It is just a tough position and a higher rated opponent.
Yeah, that seems harsh because really d4, e4, two natural central moves, and then queen d3 to guard both of them. I mean, it's hard to fault that. Andrea had two pieces kind of pseudo hanging due to 2 pins in the middle of the board. That's tricky stuff.
Yeah, no, it totally is. And we did get a castle from Samay, so good on him. He saw the urgency. He's just down a pawn, and one of Andrea's pawns are doubled. Of course, he also has that isolated pawn on d4, but his position isn't that bad. I don't think it's as bad as the engine is saying.
Agree. Yeah, that this is definitely the best case scenario for Samay. Uh, Really, almost have to be impressed. That could have gone so much worse. Andrea had much better options, but down a pawn and time even up on time for Samay. This is really, really good considering what it could have been.
Yep, and now Andrea's thinking, does she want to trade the bishop on g2? Does she want to keep it on the board? How is she going to continue after? Her bishop doesn't have a lot of great squares to go back to. If she comes to d5, then she has an isolated pawn as well. If she comes to f5, that's kind of an awkward position, whereas white has that nice fianchettoed bishop. So she doesn't take right away, but she keeps the tension with the bishop on a4. She is now freeing up the d8 square for her rook to help put pressure on d4. If black recaptures the bishop, then she takes with the rook, and d4 is really in trouble. So I like that she's keeping the tension here.
Yep. The one thing that we say about isolated pawns is you want to control the square in front, so d5, which is why the move queen b6 does not seem like a great move. It's a good move, but maybe not a great move. The simple queen d7 and rook d8 felt correct because you want to control this square before you attack this pawn. In this case, as an example, if I play rook to e1 and black trades, and then you start to bring pieces into the middle of the board, it's not as convincing because maybe I could trade the rooks and push d5, get rid of that pawn. And that is something you don't always want to allow, which is why we keep talking about controlling the square in front of the pawn. I know it feels like a weird concept, but before you go and attack it, make sure it's stuck where it is. Right now, it can still move.
Yeah, no, that's actually really instructional. And again, the D pawn is Samay's biggest weakness here. If he trades it off and Andrea's only up a double pawn on the king side, that improves his drawing chances greatly. Here he goes for b4, which is an interesting move. a2 is defended by the queen, so he's pushing the black queen away, which was actually finally doing what Amon said. It was defending the d5 square so that he can't trade off his isolated pawn.
Yeah, and if you play queen d5, I would consider it a pretty serious mistake. It would allow white to trade everything and play rook to c7 and one pawn down in that endgame. Why does that not matter so much? Number one, because white has the activity, but also it's a double pawn over here on the king side. It's not really like if it was on e6, this would be so much better for Andrea, but this is still a close game, and I think that a draw might even be the most likely result compared to a win for black. Definitely, white is far from winning this game, but I do think a draw is still quite likely.
As you were saying that queen d5 was a mistake, Andrea was considering it. She drew some arrows, though, figured out it was not the best plan. Now she played queen f5, keeping the queen on the board. And it's not really about keeping the queen on the board, but it's just not fixing the weakness and opening the c file, like you said. Queen f5. I kind of like the position of the queen. It's holding d5. It's looking towards
Yeah,
f2.
I like it. Yeah, it's controlling some important squares. Rook d8 feels natural, and Samay is looking to expand where he has pawns he can push. Right, you don't want to do too much with the pawns in front of your king. Maybe h4 at the most, but I like where he's decided to play. Also, queen c5. It seems weird to trade queens when you're down a pawn, but the pawns are doubled, and it brings us closer to a rook endgame with great drawing chances.
And I'm so impressed by Samai's chess progress. He learned how to play during the pandemic because he was bored. He was playing with a lot of Indian chess players. He's a comedian by trade, and he's already almost 1800. He beat
Yeah.
Sardosh in one of the games. It's genuinely being incredible progress because he also doesn't have that much time to focus on chess. So, yeah, just want to give him some love for his insane progress.
Absolutely. It's really, really impressive because he dominated his group, undefeated, maximum points, and he was definitely not the highest rated in that group either.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You see Masioka defeated Andrea, loses to Sardosh, who lost to Samai. It just goes to show you how evenly matched this group is.
Yep, and styles change everything. The one thing about this position is the time. It feels like nothing's happening, like just kind of shuffling. I really like the move Queen C5. It's a tough move to play because it offers a trade, but I do think it's worth considering. Other moves, it's kind of difficult. Andrea's done a good job at preventing both d5 and b5, and for the moment, there's not that much else I can really think about other than maybe queen c5 to trade here. So I'm expecting either queen c5 or potentially rook e2 to try to gain control.
Hmm. Okay, instead we see rook ed1. The computer doesn't like it, not because it's a bad move, but because it misses a better move, unless there's something that we're not seeing here. I do wonder how Andrea should continue here. She is up a pawn, so it was a moment where she can consider trading, but she don't want to do that because then it would give the open e-file to Samay. So instead, she brings her rook to d8, and she's stopping the d5 pawn from pushing and continuing to pressure the isolated pawn, which makes sense to me. Doesn't queen c5 work here as well, though?
Queen c5 is playable, but I think taking and playing d5 is likely what Samay is going to do. Now, this move may not be fully effective here, but I bet that it might be for a reason that we're not expecting. For example, this is why I was saying it's so important to nail down that isolated pawn, because now Samay sees the opportunity. And if you imagine like something where everybody trades on d5, then we're getting closer and closer to that draw.
Yeah. Is there any option for Andrea to not trade on d5? She could try rook d8, and then
Yeah.
white can't capture on c6 because the rook is hanging. Um,
Very dangerous, right? You play rook
yeah.
d8, I play d6 and queen c5 and start to get ambitious there. So I do
Yeah.
think this is all kind of correct, but Andrea understands that, you know what, because these pawns are attacked, there's no rook d7 because it will be defended.
Yeah, so she's going to take another pawn, and this pawn is even more important than the one on the queen side because she's going to be able to create a pass pawn. And
Yep. So I think
here,
a critical variation might be rook d6,
mhm.
because if you take the pawn, then maybe I take this one. If you take another, I go back to b6 and take on b7. But now, after this, unfortunately, I think poor check. Now, Andrea is really in the driver's seat. I do expect to see a win here for black.
Yep, b5, and now Andrea can capture the pawn on a4. Samay takes, and then if she takes with the pawn or the rook, Samay wants to get his rook behind her pawns either on b8 or a8. That's the best chance for him to try to stop it.
Yep.
And those positions usually are winning for the side up a pawn. In this case, she's up 2 pawns, so it's going to make it even more complicated.
Yep. You have to show some understanding, putting the rook behind the pawn. For black with a pass pawn here, the best place for the rook would be actually where the white rook is, behind. The next best would be beside, and then let's say the worst, but usually the most common, is in front. So, for example, if the white rook moves away, black might play rook e4 to play rook e6 and improve it at least to the side. So, right now, white's done just about everything you can in order to try to achieve the draw. And unfortunately, taking is not ideal, but let's let the players play this one out. Maybe we can drop in with Andrea in this critical moment of conversion.
Do want to note Andrea does have a minute on the clock, and time pressure is something that she does struggle with, and she doesn't have
From
full
here,
confidence in her endgames
you
either. So
attack, I push, you take, I take. If you come here, I push. I just have to trade the rooks. Now I can push, or I could bring my king up. But I feel like pushing is pretty straightforward.
Good move. Very good move.
Samay cannot trade off the rooks because that would be a loss for him. So
Guess
he's going to
maybe it
have to
wasn't
go
the
back.
best. Because I'll have to put my rook back, but my king is coming, and then so are my pawns. Yeah, I do dash.
So this is a moment
push.
where I would say the rook should have gone to the side of the
Yeah, this is
pawn.
the plan.
But this is perfectly fine, and I think there's
Okay, I just have to
multiple
march.
ways to convert because of the two extra pawns.
Try this. Then I push.
Right.
You come here.
So
okay.
One thing she could try to do is trade off one of her pawns on the king side so that she has
Check
two passed pawns.
Check,
It's
bing.
really hard to defend against both because then while the white king is busy defending one, she could just bring her king into the support of
always
the
gonna
other one.
This check for back.
That's
That's
one
right.
idea to do it. The other is to just try to bring her king closer to the pass pawn
Okay, I mean,
already,
winning.
but I think this is
Okay,
just
this looks
easier.
good. There's like no way he could get in.
Very under control. Exactly what you want here.
I go for this. And then I attack this and I just push. This is looking pretty decent. Not
I
sure
wish we had a
what
Samay
to
cam,
go.
but he hasn't moved at all, so
Maybe
this is
this,
probably better to stay on.
right? Just push again in case you want some tricks. I won't.
There's the Samay cam, guys. But he's locked in, and that's what he
I
needs
guess
to be
you still have
doing.
this, so maybe I just pin. You get push. But I could just move my king. I do this, you do this, I do this, you do this.
So I think the best way to do things
Why not
is
just
to
do this?
move the black king over a square to the side, and then actually move the G pawn directly forward.
Get this guy here. I should think more about.
And why do you like that
I mean,
better
I
than
just
just
push this
pushing the
pawn.
F pawn?
Your king runs, I'll come here.
Well, I'm wondering what's going to happen after the F pawn.
Stuff, I
Everything
could just
wins,
focus
so
on promoting my pawn.
Andrea is doing perfectly fine
Sorry about
here.
that pass
But if you push the
pawn.
G pawn, you're threatening G3,
Fun
which
fact,
will
I've got
win
two
the
chess puzzles in my
F
oxygen
pawn.
chamber.
So that's a
This
nice
one
addition.
is the end game. I did 3 on games and said no more. Okay, now this.
Okay, the king going back is
Okay.
really
I
helpul.
give Chekaruski.
Andrea is now in
Oh,
full
sexy.
control.
Let's go.
Yep,
Alright,
she's gonna have 3
I
pawns.
guess you're gonna pin my pawn, but
Full control
you come I
here. Well
push,
done.
You come here. I've got a rook.
No stalemate traps here either.
Bang.
I guess there could be potentially. If Andrea somehow pushes the pawns, White's king has no square, and then Samay can sack his rook.
I could
It's
defend,
possible. It feels unlikely, but you're right to start thinking about that because of the serious
I mean, I could
material
push.
deficit.
Yeah, and Andrea being 30 seconds on the clock. Although, if that happens, just get ready with your volume.
I push. I do this. You do this. Okay, I think I have to give him the pawn. Shit.
Yeah, giving up a pawn here should
15
really be no
seconds.
problem because even with just one of the pawns remaining, it's probably winning.
I'm just keeping an eye out for stalemate tricks.
Yeah, I
None
think
yet.
this is totally locked up. F2, F1 is just unstoppable.
Can't escape because I check and promote. So this is winning. But I still don't have faith in myself, but I know this is winning. You bring back.
I guess
Then I
F2,
push.
F1, and Samay could play
Maybe
Rook
this.
F3, and if she takes, it's a stalemate. But she won't take,
I'll
she'll
push and
checkmate.
check. I just
That's
run
right.
towards your rook. And then I've got 2 passers. What if you bring your king? Yeah, it doesn't work. This wins. Bang.
But it's a good habit to take it seriously even when you are this winning. You don't want to
I've
slip
got 2
up.
passers. I will sack my rook and promote one of them. And now I do the ladder.
And good to Samay to not
I do the
resign.
walk. Ooh, look at that king walk. Oh, yeah.
King walk is correct.
It's like he's on the runway. But no fashion allowed in chess. No, he is such a scandalous king. Ooh. Oh no, how dare you show your collarbone. The king is coming out. He's going on a walk alone. It's after dark. He's got no pepper spray, but he's on the run. What you gonna do now? Alright, I think this is pretty good. I'm so
I feel like
lucky
if you don't
that
win the game after
have
that
another
pep
pawn,
talk,
'cause I'm
like
not gonna lie, if I got a
Yeah.
rook, queen versus rook endgame, I don't
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
know if I would have known how to play. He's trying. I don't think you could do much now.
Wait, Spargo
Oh,
is still
scandalous
playing
king.
chess, by
Oh,
the
so
way.
scandalous. Oh,
really,
what's on
Yeah.
the other side?
That's actually really wholesome. He's locked in now, and good for him.
Oh, scandalous king. I really like that. I think that's how I would be commentating this game if I was my sister. Oh, so scandy.
I don't have to because you're
How dare
doing
you go
it.
out? I'm really concerned for his ever. Okay, he is realizing that this is not
Rook f3,
go
right?
anywhere.
That's the move you're supposed to play
He's gonna keep
after
going.
queen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
you
to,
just might as well try.
your idea, right?
Why not
What is he
try
doing?
it?
Really?
Oh,
Really,
yeah,
dude?
come on. Oh my god,
Really?
Samai's crossing his fingers.
Do you
That's so
think-
funny.
Guy was yesterday.
That's hilarious.
Really? Okay, you should resign now. Okay, well, all right.
Don't
How
give
many
up,
queens should I
Samay.
make? Should I get another queen? I don't even know. All right, I would just keep it simple. He can resign. Okay, he's still
Don't
playing.
resign,
Really?
Samay.
This
But
is
I wonder
almost disrespectful. This
The volume,
This is
we need to work on it.
I will say. He thinks I'm going to stalemate. You are a very funny comedian, Samay. You make me laugh. Okay, good games. All right, chat. I need to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. BRB.
Okay, Andrea.
Just
takes
like
the
that, she was
first
gone.
one. Yep.